Or are you a really sharp person who understands how the whole Hollywood machine works, who whispers to Andy, well, Kyle and I are leaving. Can't have it both ways, Erica. Same thing with Rinna. I find it hard to believe that Rinna is scared of Andy Cohen and left her job because of the fans. But here we are in 2025. Crazier and stranger things have happened. Now, moving on, people. And we'll just wrap it up very quickly. But what really made me sad, what makes me sad, this is where, I feel like my interviews are so legendary. Like I really am. There's always like I saw the clips of this interview and I didn't really listen to it because I don't listen to any interviews because I'm too busy. But like the number one question to me is like, do you regret anything from your time on Beverly Hills? Why wasn't that asked? And specifically, do you regret what you did or what happened between you and your 20-year-long friend, Denise Richards? I mean, look, there's a lot of questions I would have asked Rinna, but that was one that just glaringly stood out to me of just regrets in general. I would have asked her, or do you regret what you did to Denise? Denise did an interview, and you guys are loving her show as much as I'm loving her show. I just had a run-in with Denise in Hollywood like 2 weeks ago. I haven't talked about this yet. I told her how much I loved her show, but here's the thing. Denise did an interview, and she said, and like the thing is, whether they were real friends or not, I mean, I always made up the backstory that they were. I mean, they came up in the 80s and 90s together. They were on soaps together. They ran in the same circle. So Rinna may not consider them real friends, but Denise sure did. So Denise did an interview and she said, dealing with the downfall of a very dear friend. This is what Denise said. Dealing with the downfall of a very dear friend with Lisa Rinna, that was really hard for me. And Denise said she still struggles with that matter to this day. So can you imagine Denise still struggles with the fact that she fell out with her 20-year friend because of Housewives and because, look, there's a way that like the train was in motion. Kyle had already brought up, I mean, Brandy brought up that she hooked up with Denise Richards. Kyle jumped on the bandwagon. There's a way to keep this out there or to have had that story develop and not led the charge. I mean, call Giselle Bryant, call Luann, call Ashley Darby, call Wendy Osefo. I mean, there's so many, call Meredith Marks that know how to light the match and then walk away, right? So I think, Rinna, I know, own it. And the truth, I'm sure they all tapped her on the shoulder, but there was a way to have this narrative and have that be the storyline for that season out there without her really grilling her friend of 20 years. So I am team Denise on this. She says she's still having a hard time dealing with it. And I'm sorry. I think Denise is not just making up fake sympathy. I think she's a sweet person. She says she doesn't see any resolution with Lisa Rinna anytime soon. Never say never. And she does say, I don't want to resolve this on a podcast or a TV show for that level of friendship. And that's when you realize, man, she really was friends with Rinna. And she said, look, we're friends over 20 years. With Erika Jayne, it was different. We just met on Beverly Hills. She's referring to the fact of the upside down jacket and all of that. And, Erika's across the table and you're high and this and that. And then she had her on her show and the podcast so she can resolve everything with Erika on air. But with Rinna, she said it's different. We were really, really good friends. And I wouldn't resolve that on a podcast. She also said that's the main reason she didn't go back for a third season. So just to summarize, I guess Lisa Rinna drove her good friend Denise Richards off the show. And then I guess karma came and got Lisa Rinna because the fans drove her off the show. You can't make this shit up, right? I mean, I feel like we've been talking so much about Teresa and Melissa lately that we've been really neglecting Beverly Hills and Atlanta. So I'm really happy that we are dealing with this today. One more thing that I want to just say, Erika Jayne, her case is going to trial. She has two cases. She is being sued for $24 million by the bankruptcy trustee. We haven't talked about this yet for Tom's case. And the bankruptcy trustee is saying she was involved in the scheme of defrauding his clients out of all that money. The victims, she knew she was involved. Erika denies any wrongdoing. We already know that. This suit was originally filed September of 2021. You see what happens when you sue someone, people? I always say, I know you're angry. I know this. I know that. Don't sue someone unless you have a case, even if someone's taking a contingent. 4 years to get your case into court. That's the norm. September 2021 was when the civil suit was filed. The trial is coming up somewhat soon, we think, certainly after Beverly Hills ends. And they're saying that she knew and that this is going to go to trial, and she's probably not going to settle. She denies any wrongdoing. It's completely aside as we wrap up the Marco case. We saw that in the documentary. Our good friend Ronald Richards has spoken out again. I like Ronald Richards. He was on this podcast. He pointed out, which I wouldn't have known unless it was for Ronald Richards, that there's a default judgment that's about to take place in that case, that Christopher Basila sued her. The Secret Service were involved and they were looking into him. And, he's saying that she falsely accused him of, making $800,000 of unauthorized charges on her credit cards. And the feds got involved, and Tom used his legal strong arm to back them into this and to get the feds involved. And everybody owed everybody a favor. And it was Tom Girardi and the Secret Service, and all of that was involved. And that Christopher was on that documentary too. He lost a lot of business because of this. I mean, being falsely accused of charging someone's credit card $800,000, it's a big deal. So basically, that was that. And Ronald has pointed out that her attorney in the case wrongly filed a motion to dismiss and then failed to show up for a conference in the case. And basically, because he filed the wrong motion to dismiss, or he thought he filed the motion to dismiss, but he didn't. I guess he thought it was, I guess they wouldn't notify him or something. But he basically missed a meeting at a deadline. And this is why, just like Jax Taylor fills out the forms and says, oh, I give all custody to Brittany. I don't want anything to do with Cruz. And then says, oh my God, I was representing myself. I made a mistake. Tom Sandoval was representing himself in the Raquel Leviss thing. He's now begging the judge. Guys, I say it all the time. I'm a lawyer. I haven't practiced in fucking 12,000 decades. I wouldn't even represent myself. This is why you don't represent yourself. When you miss deadlines and you don't cross your T's and dot your I's in the law, yeah, you lose. Look, if she gets a default judgment against her because her lawyer forgot to do something, a default judgment is a judgment. You lose the case and you owe the money. However, I then think she should turn around and sue her lawyer. And that's a pretty big fucking deal. So thank you for keeping us posted on that. The point is, Erika has a lot more legal issues than we all gave her credit for, which I think is just funny because of how the season ended, right? It ended with her talking about Tom, and here we are. So I think we forget that Erika's not quite out of the woods. We got a lot more to get to. We'll do another quick hit tomorrow. I've got more to say about Teresa. Love you all. Don't forget our live show, May 1st, 7 p.m. May 1st, 7 p.m. Everyone come. Everyone gets one question if you're there. So come and ask us anything. I love you all.